We're back, everybody, with the Battle Factory and another final match here. This time the seniors, but I got Joe Brown here with me this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it can't be as great as Marty, but
oh no, you're just as good. We're all equal here at the Battle Factory.
I'm just happy that our players, they have a day two, but the casting team, we also get a day two. We have a day, have the night to rest up and be prepared for what we have, which is a long day ahead of us in store of some great VGC action.
Yeah, and we've got some really good players with some very exciting history, I think, here. It is Quentin Colon versus Samuel Mowry, and both these players, they got some history with each other.
Yeah, so Quentin Colon, if it sounds familiar, he is always one of the top players in the seniors division with either pretty much if there's a top cut or if there's a top 8 and Quentin is at the event, you assume that he made top cut. Yep. So that's how strong of a player he is. And then Samuel Mowry was the runner-up at the Oceania International Championships, and he got to that stage by beating Quentin in top 8.
So we got a rematch on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Quentin out for maybe a little bit of justice here. He wants to get the win this time, and it's going to mean a lot more because the winner is getting the most championship points, getting the most prize money, and is getting the bragging rights. He's trying to even up the score. Yeah. And both these players have won regionals before. I know that Quentin won Vancouver regionals. I believe that was last year. Samuel won Daytona. So they've been champions before, but who's going to add another one to their tally?
Yeah, both these players have seen more championship points in the last couple of years than I ever dreamed of.
Right.
So that's how successful that our finals match is.
Me and Marty were talking about that last round, how, I think it was Joshua has both his invites already, and I never got one. So, it's like, it's just all these players.
Just doubly slapping it in my face.
Exactly. So if there's one thing that is consistent about casting, it is the reminder that they have the points, and we just get to enjoy the good games. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way because this is going to be a very exciting match. Can't wait to get these teams up on screen because they are some real spicy stuff here.
Yeah, there are some familiarity that players should have if they were following throughout some of the recent VGC history, especially with Quentin's team. Very similar to a former international champion.
Yeah, there it is. And if Quentin's team looks familiar, that's because it is one Pokemon different from what Ashton Cox won with in Brazil last year. That is the Tapu Lele and the Metagross over the Pheromosa with the Lilligant, Torkoal, Snorlax, Mimikyu combination. So kind of 3 different cores melded together. And then we have Samuel on the bottom there with the Azumarill Clefairy, with the Tyranitar Excadrill, and the Salamence and the Thundurus Therian, which we haven't seen before, but is a Pokemon that people are starting to look at and has done very well. And that kind of fits in with that Japanese sand archetype a little bit with the Excadrill, Tyranitar, Salamence.
Yeah, I was going to mention the fact that Samuel has a sand core or sand option on his team, and then he adjusts from there. So most players, when they run a team like this, Tyranitar Excadrill is their main factor, and then based on what their opponent has is how they adjust. I can see Sam maybe going in game 1 with that sand option just to see what Quentin's play style is and what he values on his team.
And we get the leads. Quentin decides he wants to go for the the Mimikyu and the Tapu Lele. Snorlax just such a common partner with it. And we're getting the Clefairy and the another green Pokemon, Joe, the Salamence.
It's not St. Patrick's Day anymore, but I can still celebrate as an Irishman. So with that Intimidate, it actually might matter a little bit. Mimikyu is different in this format. Last year, you could go special, you could go mixed, you could go physical. Most Mimikyu are physical in VGC 18 with the Mimikyu Z, the Let's Snuggle Forever. So if it is at -1 and goes for a superpowered Z move, it might be enough depending on how Salamence is trained, but Tyranitar is switching in.
Yep, and it's going to set up the Sandstream, giving itself a boost to its special defense and also doing some chip damage to the rest of the field. Salamence going to Mega Evolve, so Intimidate won't be an option, but it did its job. It softened up the Mimikyu and that potential Z move. Actually, and this is a special variant, going for the Hyper Voice, going to do damage to the Tapu Lele, not taking it below half, but most importantly, it will break the Mimikyu's disguise. So now that Tyranitar is going to be able to do damage to it in the future. And look at that, Joe. We've got a Z move, but it's the Shattered Psyche coming out from the Tapu Lele instead.
Yeah, that is definitely an option. Shattered Psyche in psychic terrain from a huge special attacker
Oh.
Would do a lot if Tyranitar wasn't a dark type.
No, but it wasn't even the Tapu Lele. It was the Mimikyu actually going for a Z Trick Room. If I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, wait.
Totally. We're kind of out of sorts here at the moment. So.
No, so it was. It was indeed. Oh no, it went to the Tyranitar. That's what it was. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, Psychic went into.
We're caught up.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So a very good switch from Samuel.
Right, and he saw you might have been worried about Clefairy switching out because of the extra damage that Salamence would have taken from a fairy type attack, but it seemed like a very obvious turn.